Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Now TV and what's happening now in my life on I Am Just Jen YouTube channel. So I did a little short yesterday night to say that I did make it to the gym, and I did about 24 laps of mixed strokes, and I went to about 45 minutes of the 1 hour deep aquafit class, and then I did some time in the sauna to warm up and dry off. But that didn't really fix it. It's still terrible news to wait 1 month from a paid publishing company that you send your manuscript to, which was clean. Like, there was literally no mistakes in it. Clean manuscript, nicely separated on the pages. It just wasn't formatted into any particular style. It wasn't formatted into a play, or it wasn't formatted into a screenplay. It wasn't formatted into a novel. It's just a clean manuscript. Because of all the different kinds of manuscripts, it can then be made into by the people that are paid to do that. And these guys were paid $400 to format it into a book. Not a novel, just a movie being published as a book for you guys. Because I don't want it to be turned into a screenplay, the kind that Al Gould writes. Miles Myler and him team up on, like the Beetlejuice 2 they just did, and all these other people do, that sit on shelves that never get read, never get turned into novels or published as books. Now what's going to happen, it's going to get turned into one of those stupid screenplays. Somebody who's paid, who's a professional, who does that, is going to turn my work into that, and it's going to sit on a shelf somewhere collecting dust that nobody's ever going to see or read again after it's made into a movie. Because this is what did happen today when I got up. I did come to this conclusion. I do not want to have any more to do with this publishing company. I'm done. Done. I am not going to waste any more of my time, not a single additional day of reading through more of their one draft and their 1 month of time to send me back a better draft of a better formatted copy for publication as a book of my work. Because they did not do this for the money I've spent for that 1 month of time. And it would be a waste of money and time and energy. It's a waste of Tom's time, Michael's time, Al's time. It's a waste of the fans' time. It's just a waste of time. For them to go, oh, well, hey, that's just the first draft. It's the first step and all the steps we got to do in order to do this. No. The first draft and the first step is to send me a better formatted copy of the work that was already perfect because of spelling and grammar and paragraphing and things you didn't have to check on or change because it was already done. So that you just format it into a publishable book reading type of work. And then I go, yay, thumbs up. And maybe there's one or two things that need to be corrected or changed that you might find. And that's it. And then you go on to the cover, and then you go to print on demand, and you go to Audible or to Kindle and move forward with your plans. So I wrote them back. And I asked for my money back. I asked for a refund and said I am not interested in going any further with you guys because of that 1 month of time and that one draft and that one opportunity and all that I've read in the multiple times I've hired and fired reading what they sent me yesterday, between how upset I am between each time I've read it, that I can't go any further with them because they didn't do what I have paid for them to do in that first draft. And therefore, it is not logical to go any further in business with somebody who does things that badly, right? You shouldn't be in business as a publishing company if you can't send a better draft from the good draft the authors already sent you to them in your first draft back and finalizing a copy that can be made into a book. And then I got a response back from that person I sent the original to. Oh, can I have a couple of days to chat with the team and figure out what went wrong? And then I wrote her back again and re-explained it. Right? I'm not going to take my manuscript. I don't care if Tom and Michael do it. I don't care if Beetlejuice does it, in the waiting room in hell. I don't care if Al does it. The whole world can do it if they want to. Take that one draft and then take my original draft and open it page by page and mark all the mistakes and all the things they did wrong in their one draft in that 1 month of time that they had to do that, compared to my draft and all the pages that have no mistakes And none of those kind of mistakes in the same places they've got mistakes in their draft. And on top of that, I tried to explain to her that the mistakes that that team was making in their draft are mistakes I just do not make at all. Ever, period. As a writer, my whole life, those are not mistakes I make. I do not write a word and then put it in an apostrophe and then an RE and then have no space and put in a new word. I don't even know what the apostrophe RE word is supposed to be in between the previous word that's there in the sentence and the word that comes after the apostrophe RE. No idea what they're trying to say or what they're writing because it makes no sense. Like, literally, I don't do that. And I have to go to my manuscript to look at that section to find out what was supposed to be written there and then go to theirs and go, oh, that's what it's supposed to say. Oh, yeah, I remember writing that. Okay, that was great. That was a good portion. That was funny. I did a good job at that. And then have to fix it in their copy. Nobody can take my money. Nobody can take anybody's money. Nobody should be taking anybody's money for that kind of work and call that a job on their part and call that business or progress. That's not going forward. That's going forward backwards. And that going backwards, going forward thing is not going forward. It's not productive to do that. So if my copy is already clean, then it makes sense to cut ties with them and take my clean copy and just figure out how to put in a table of content for myself and then put it back into the Word document out of the Microsoft document and just finish fine-tuning it as best as I can to have, the page breaks where I want the chapter headings to be, to take it from being just a manuscript meant for movie and make it look more like book type stuff, and then just fine-tune how you put in who's speaking, right? Instead of saying Martha says, it just would say Martha, right? Or something. But other than that, there was nothing wrong with my copy. And my copy was actually so good you could do self-publishing of that copy in smaller, bigger copies of paperback copies that they could read and use in their podcasts or live performances at events, or for actually using to produce the pilot with, right? The pilot on that script is awesome. The opening scene of that first 60 seconds, that first minute or two, it's just beautiful. It's blow your mind perfect and needed no changes. There was nothing wrong with it. And they couldn't even send me back a first draft of their copy where that same opening scene of the pilot was perfect. Because if it's perfect and it doesn't need any changes or adjustments, then it shouldn't be difficult to copy and paste perfect into another file and paste it perfect. Paste, perfect. So I don't know what you could do between copy and paste to go from perfect to imperfect in that first 2 minutes to the degree of imperfect that they did, and think that they could still get money for that. Still keep the money that they were sent from me for that. Right? That pilot is the time crunch I'm freaking out about. Right? I only have so much money to work with. I only have so many hours. I only have one subletted apartment to get some extra income around the little bit of work I'm doing as a support worker while I do all this other stuff. I need most of my time for all the things I need to get done by myself as a one-man band until I have enough staff. And the long of the short of it is I have to end up around them. They have to get my work because it's that time. Over there, their fall season, their Thanksgiving, the pilot, it needs to be now, right? Even if we don't use my original idea for the very beginning as the pilot of young Jonathan Kent, confusing everybody because nobody knows where the heck they are, why they're seeing this or what's going on, who's the kid and all that stuff. It still needs to have this season for that pilot to happen because we're getting older and nothing can go backwards in time against our health and age. And we don't know who's going next. And after losing Phil Donahue, that's really, really it. We are out of time because he's the character as Mac Donahue at the end of this first book that I can no longer have on the phone in real life as himself talking to his granddaughter. And so I can't afford to lose any more of those kind of moments in this work. And they can't afford to lose any more time. If they're going to do this, they got to do it and do it right. So the guy that was in charge of the manuscript that they sent me writes me back in the same place where they were working on things supposedly as a group, which no group anything ever took place in this 1 month, and tries to plead with me some more again after the email I sent her. And he's like, oh, I've talked with Hazel and whatever. And I had to explain to him again, based on the one draft you sent me and the 1 month you had to send me a manuscript that should have been better and improved on the perfect manuscript I already had and sent you, and the fact that you sent me a manuscript back that was worse and had more mistakes in it than the one I sent you, and that it had mistakes in it that I just don't make as a writer and never have in my entire writing career. I can confirm with you that I'm positively, absolutely, 100% certain that you're no longer the publishing company for me, right? That this is not going to work professionally. You're not good enough, right? It's just not going to go any further. That would be a complete waste of time and energy. And so now I have to go back to the library, like the cartoon girl I have of me behind the computer screen, the glasses on, and the animation version of my head. I have to go and rethink using a Microsoft computer what I can do with my clean draft, because I don't have the headache of having to worry about all the mistakes they make in that copy that I don't make at all because it's not in my copy. And so I said to him, I'm absolutely positively certain I just want to end ties with you, and I just request my refund, please, and gave the e-transfer and then just be done with it. And then I had to take some time to drink a little bit of coffee. I mean, I had to do a prayer thing, meditate, recompose myself before making this video. So there you have it. That's what happened between yesterday's good news in the morning and bad news by night. Sleeping on it overnight and then getting up and doing what I had slept on in my decision, and now waiting for the refund and going from there. There's no need to go any further than this first draft, because this is the whole point. Why I'm accusing Tom of setting me up. This is why I'm convinced that in spite of what he never says outside, that this is working. And inside he's got things going on and he's not saying anything. And he's planning ahead about scenarios subjectively. What if? Well, if this happened, and so in this particular case, the whole series is about the butcher job. So the whole deal is about the paid manuscript by the professional publishing company versus my professional manuscript, which I was not paid to do, and which nobody was ever able to take away my credit for by butchering up an only copy of something that I have no way of fixing, because they sent me back a butcher job of a copy I can't fix, because I would be dumb enough to send them the only copy of some perfect draft I had, which I would never do. So, comparing my good work throughout my life's career to work other people have read of mine that try to fix stuff and then make it worse and make more mistakes, and they call that a paid job, knowing that I should be the one paid to do that, means that our system has gotten to a point so bad that it's time to make a change, right? So I get where he's going with allowing everybody to read that one butcher job paid publishing draft about my work never being read by publishers who are going to get paid to butcher your work ever again. Nobody gonna butcher it, right? At this point, these people are just gonna learn how to be a part of my team, Future Productions. We'll just figure out how to do the cover. We'll just figure out how to format it into this readable book version. We'll just figure out how to do the animation. We'll just figure out how to find a production company office and get our own printing machines and publish our own work. But we're not paying anybody to destroy what was already perfect. That's not a job that anybody should be paying for. That's a job that I should be paid to do. To be paid to read and proofread and edit manuscripts that have lots of mistakes in it. Like this one draft of the butcher job draft that he's never going to stop talking about, sharing with people and then making comparisons of. Like, I can already see Al producing and directing the scene with Beetlejuice in their waiting room, and he's got my perfect draft and the butcher job draft, and he's making comparisons between the butcher job draft that was a paid product by a publisher versus your free, talented draft written from years of experience, wisdom, knowledge, and being an English major, and a lifetime of writing experience, and my own passion and talent versus that, and going to himself out loud in front of all of his friends. I have never read anything so bad in my entire life from a paid publishing perspective against an original draft of author's work that was completely perfect in the first place. That's the best unpaid perfect draft of anything I've ever read from an author before it went to publishing in my life. And that is the worst paid publishing draft I've ever read in comparison to that perfect draft in my life. And this company shouldn't be in business, and people like that shouldn't be doing this job. They shouldn't be paid to do anything. They should still be students learning. They should be in her master class or in school learning how to get good enough to be in the master class as a student. So that's where my day is at in all of this. And that is why I'm grateful I have Now TV, so I can share my real life story now and everything that goes on as I am faced with what to do. That's why I always give it up to God, give it to Jesus, because without them, the pressure on my mind of what to do, I would just crack, right? I just wouldn't be able to get through on just some coffee and meditation. I have the ongoing problem of the mice and the poop in my place. Seriously, here, we're going to have this conversation. I was thinking of John Schneider, literally, whether he's himself or being Jonathan Kent. But you know these wooden traps, right? These death traps, these ridiculous little contraptions that are the worst things in the world. They are hell because they are the easiest triggering traps on the planet. It is literally impossible to set these things up with the food in place without the thing going off before you pull your finger away and the trap is still set. So it's literally impossible for a mouse to come and get that food and not have the thing go off and get trapped. But I had to buy the one package in the planet of 10 billion people where my traps will not trigger. They don't go off, and the mice have come, found the food, and left multiple times from the traps full and fed, and are therefore pooping all over the apartment. And I hate mouse poop. I can't stand bugs and critters. Like, it's bad. I asked the maintenance when they finally came for those sticky pads. I know it's kind of cruel because they're still alive and they can't get off them and they just die like that. And I took one out to the park once and I felt bad because I'm like, well, you might as well be food for a bigger creature that needs you, because that's what mice are. They're just food for other bigger creatures. They have no other purpose. Like, they're not even good for house pets because all they do is give birth. Like, worse than birds do. Chickens, like, it's bad. So I got 2 more of these, of the 2 I've already set up. And I tried with the other 2 again and again and again to try to get it as trigger sensitive as possible. And I tried to get it to snap. And by the time I got one to snap, I hurt me. But I didn't get a mouse. So it's just completely clear that I'm needing people who are good at the little things in life that I don't do. And can't do and won't do. Won't know how, learn. Hey, I'm not an octopus. Not here or physically. So I just think it's funny because now I need somebody who's going to sit and take the last 2 and try again to see if we get these ones to work. to catch it. And I've put poison everywhere, hoping the poison would be eaten with the food on the traps and stuff enough times that they would finally drop dead. I've prayed for heaven to find a way to get rid of the mouse. I have the door on my balcony open, hoping that it will go outside. I'm waiting for the door to be changed and the radiator to be changed. I have to move everything around constantly to keep on top of the mess, sweeping and cleaning, to keep it dust free because of my asthma and my allergies, and poop free. The time I've lived here and the nightmare I've gone through in living here, because the people wouldn't talk about me, wouldn't promote me, wouldn't write articles about me, is insane. And I have a YouTube channel that has over 1 million viewers and has way over 1,000 subscribers. Like, it's just not right. I have so much social media. I have multiple Instagram accounts and Twitters, and I have Stage 32 profile and Star Now profile, that there's enough stuff there that all these people should be talking about it. The only manuscript there is in a decade that anybody's written as a reunion special for Smallville that is based on and starts from the point of the 100th episode where Jonathan Kent dies. And nobody's talking about it? That should be all everybody's talking about. Like, the best manuscript of the decade, which I can tell you as a TV 2-part movie manuscript, it's not the best movie script of the decade. It might be the best TV movie manuscript of the decade. But I have written other stuff bigger and better. So I have even better, bigger things to fry on the scale of magnificent. So this should be all people are clamoring about. The best writer in Canada in history as a female writer ever, or the best writing of this major motion picture movie size in the last decade or century, and on top of that, she's a woman and she's from Canada. That kind of hype is what should be happening. And I'm not getting that. So now I'm dealing with the extra stress of having to tell them that we're cutting ties, and I'm stuck with the one draft after 1 month that they've sent me. That's worse than the draft I sent them, and trying to find a way to get it to everybody over there so they can read this draft and go all the way through the whole thing and then compare it to my draft so I don't have to keep having a meltdown every time I do it. This morning I did it. I downloaded their stupid butcher job. I downloaded their draft onto the phone, to my Google Pixel phone, because I have to tell you something good about Google Pixel. You don't need a memory card. You don't run out of space. The Google Pixel, Google, I love Chrome. It's already in space. So I clearly thought, okay, I'm going to try this again. I've had some rest, right? Maybe that stuff at the beginning was all there is. So I kept going through it. Further down and further down and further down. And I just kept finding the mistakes. I just kept finding more and more mistakes. And then I just had a bird, lost it, going, there's just no way I'm going to go through their version of what is now 148 pages. Which was not 148 pages in the draft I originally sent them. To go and find all the mistakes of the things that they do that I don't do at all as a writer. Ever. And does not exist in any of my copies of my work throughout the years, from the first 39 sample pages and so on that I had done throughout time. I have multiple copies of those proofread and edited copies, and they can take all of that history of those copies and compare it to this one draft from this one publishing company that I paid for this 1 month draft to be done, and you won't find any of their mistakes in that one draft in any of the copies of mine. So, of course, why would I go any further in business with anybody that can't even give me back that kind of high quality of equal level of work so we could go further into the next stage of the situation? So it's just not going to happen. So I'm going to go finish my coffee, and that's my spiel for today, October 8th, in Vancouver on a rainy day. The rain did finally stop, but it's soaking wet. I don't know what I'm going to get done today. I'm sore from yesterday. I try to go and work out every other day and walk almost every day. So with my arthritis now and the state of condition it's in, I'm sore. I'm trying to not use pain meds. It's not easy because I need it and I want it and I'm old enough for it. I have enough stress in my life that I have the right to it, and I don't drink a lot because I'm not an alcoholic, so I can't bury my pain in that either. So it's just me and coffee, and I don't drink a lot of that either. What I might do is go work on some knitting. My mom's birthday is coming up. I think she's turning 71. Yeah, anyway, she's in her 70s, not really 70s. And I haven't even been able to start on her gift because I'm not buying presents anymore. I've had enough of all the holidays that my mom and other people have always wanted in my life, and I have not been big on holidays because I was born and raised and practiced the religion of Jehovah's Witnessing for the primary years of my life, and I have an established belief and moral system that Jehovah has put in me and a relationship with that God that I have had all of my life in faith and the love that is in me that there was no choice in having. I had listened to a minister and other people talk recently about faith and love being choice. And I freaked out. My eyes were like, whoa, I can't imagine the idea of faith and love as a choice. Well, the faith and love that's been born in me, born by that God in me, was not a choice. Without that, I'd be nothing. I have nothing. I could not be writing anything for superheroes or writing any superhero stuff of any kind. I couldn't be obsessed with Charlie Baker and a baker's dozen and my dream of being Mrs. Charlie Baker or Jennifer Baker in a Steve Martin movie with there's another dozen kids and so on. And the beautiful Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and their temples and their wonderful, happy, productive families and happy homes because they believe in large families. I can't do that if I didn't automatically have faith and love that is instilled in me in a way that doesn't come out of me. But the long or the short of it is, as a kid, I did enjoy spending time with my grandma and my uncle when they were here with me in the world. And those little holiday times were all I had. And Thanksgiving was the holiday that I could enjoy the most and not feel pressured or bad or conflicted by what to do about. And now as an adult, I know the truth about the date for Christmas, December 25th, because I've studied my Bible well enough to know the guy that was released from prison after 35 years was not named Jesus Christ. His name was King Jehoiakim. And so I know that when the witnesses stopped celebrating Christmas, that they lost the point and value behind why they stopped celebrating that holiday like the rest of the world was doing prior to that. Because nobody studied the scriptures well enough, nobody slowed down and meditated. Everybody's distracted by the system of things and by the devil. So they're not aware of these details. And so having me in their life is like a blessing. There's like this aura, this hedge of protection that guides and governs because I have this extra little bit of knowledge that I can provide to help make everything run smoother for everyone. So I'm going to go and let that sort of play itself out in my life today and understand that the reason Jesus let this happen is because obviously over there, Mr. Welling was planning ahead with Christ some ongoing issue about that one manuscript that you paid professional publishing company to do and they butchered it and never do it again. Well, I'll just learn how to do the covers myself. I'll just edit and format it itself, or Al Ghul will edit and format it himself because there's nothing wrong with the writing itself. It's all perfect. And then, of course, he gets to keep the copy that he's edited and formatted into the screenplay that puts on the shelf and collects dust. And then I'm annoyed because I was trying to avoid that. But then you get a copy that's good enough to publish as a book out of that from his side of it, and everybody's happy. It's a win-win situation, and I didn't have to pay another $400 to do that. So I'm just really frazzled because my car's in the shop after the window being smashed. I have another problem I have to pay for the car, so the money to make with the car is out the window. So I got to take my line of credit and all that to pay for that, and then I got to pay that off. And then I hopefully have no more problems with the car and start making money with the car. Because I have other things I need to pay for to do, like the lifeguard course and stuff, and my Christian Leaders Institute credits to get, and the deadline for all those credits I took is December. So my mind is all over the place. I'm frazzled to pieces about what I can get done. And then when something like this that is tremendously important that I'm counting on going right goes wrong, well, that just tanks the ship. This makes it worse. So I'm starting all over from the beginning today. So here's to hoping that through a Christ-centered home and through prayer, that the blessing I'm needing will come out of this, on top of being $400 richer and actually having cooperation and getting my refund and moving forward. So I'll let you guys know how I'm going to deal with the one copy of the butcher job, and then my perfect conditioned copy of the Microsoft Publishing, and what I end up doing with the Microsoft Word copy, and the fine-tuning I do in that copy to get it printable as a self-published copy, so I can at least start mailing those out to people. I think I'm going to even try touching base with Christian Leaders Institute so I can get help with marketing and attention on this matter, so this work can reach everybody over there, because this is what they need right now. So yeah, thanks for watching. Keep supporting, subscribe, tip, whatever, order copies, pre-order, because the work I have now is literally good enough for people to order just the way it is and read it the way it is as a Microsoft Publishing copy, and they can just order it directly from me without an ISBN, without it being on a store shelf, without any taxes, right? Like, that's a writer's benefit and privilege when they're at that stage in between. My website, right? It's not complicated. I have stuff on the website people can order and enjoy and have for themselves, and order and ask for an autograph. And I will let you guys know right now that if you order stuff and ask for an autograph now on the website, I'm only going to charge you $5 for my autograph. Right? I'm not going to try to make a living off my autographs. I'm not going to charge you guys $100 to autograph all my stuff. Oh, I made $100 today from signing something. Right? That's just obtuse. Right? Who needs that? Nobody deserves $100 for signing something, and nobody in this expensive dimension of life should have to spend that much money to get something signed. When you're already spending money to get pictures and already spending money to go to these events, you know, the signing of these things should only cost like an extra $5 to get, because you already spent enough for everything else. So I'm good with that. I'm fair, right? You buy a picture, you only pay $5 for the autograph. But I won't even charge you guys $100 or $150 for the picture, right? Like, win some, you win some. You're happy, I'm happy. So let's see what we can do on this. And if you have any suggestions or ideas, or if anybody wants to volunteer to help, please get a hold of me in the description below, and all the contact information that's there. So I'm going to go now. Thanks for listening to me for half an hour. Peace out. Stay tuned for what's coming, what is going to happen next. In spite of me asking for Clark and Tom to go and get my money back, I did try. And so we'll see if they do cooperate. If not, then I might literally have to get my Volvo back and go literally looking for them in person somewhere, and literally make them go in character to get my money back with their one-off, 1 month, first draft copy butcher job, by saying, you know, how bad it is to them and how good your work is, and that they can't keep the money, in character, and see what happens. Okay, so peace out, guys. Bye-bye. Superwoman signing off from Vancouver, BC, Canada.